Hello, everyone. Um, my God, it's been a while since I've been on this channel. Um, I've had some life things happen, which is why I haven't been uploading as much. But today I'm going to commentate over a battle that I had with an AI with the computer on Total War, Napoleon Total War. I'm using the Grand Battle mod. Very, very old mod, but it still looks beautiful. So this is going to be a longer video, kind of unscripted. My voice probably sounds shittier because I'm not using my professional microphone. I have actually yet to have a place to put my professional microphone, the one that I make commentary videos over. So I'm just using my headset microphone right now. I hope you can forgive me. So, gonna view replay. I have quite a bit. I have quite a bit. This one in particular, it's called the Peninsular Battle. You'll see why in a moment. You can see like all these like rivers and stuff. That's one of the reasons why. It's also because the layout of the map just looks like a bunch of peninsulas. So, I'll skip some of the more boring stuff. I will tell you what my initial strategy was. So this map was kind of weird for me. Um, I wanted to use the lake, or not the lake, the rivers to my advantage. I wasn't 100% sure if you could come across this little path here. So my original plan was to just have men stationed on this side, and this side. So that way, if the enemy decided to come directly towards me, they would just get mowed down immediately. They kind of push in the middle, but these are more so little skirmishes compared to what goes on over here. You'll see that my original expectation was that they were just going to I mean, we're talking about the computer here, right? We're not talking grand strategy type shit. So I thought they were going to come down from the middle here. I knew they would try and cross either here or here. So that's why I set my men up all across this like little peninsula so we would pick them off before they could get to it. And I had a similar plan here. I was going to bottleneck them at this little bridge. Doesn't quite work out that way, as you will see later. But I'm just going to fast forward through some of this. Apologies, apologies. Just kind of setting up my army, and there is a point where I'm just like, ah, fuck it. Like, it'll take them forever to get here anyway. So I eventually do just press play. I'm going to have an artillery piece out here, sort of like, well, it looked like a hill to me. 'Cause I was looking at this shadow right here. I thought it was a shadow, but it looked like a hill, but it's open enough, good for artillery. And I'm going to have my second artillery piece right here. You're going to know, okay, so the battle has officially started. I'm moving my men out, but gonna fast forward here for a little bit just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna have light infantry here, light infantry here. That's because if they tried to go down here to cross the river, they'd get bottlenecked. And I know from experience, light infantry does very good at that. Um, One thing you're going to also notice, I don't use a lot of cavalry. I typically never do unless I feel like the situation calls for it. So just the same as I was going to do here. I have light infantry right here as well. You will come to find out why I say that it doesn't quite work out the way that I had planned, but it's still a very big victory for me. And I'm not just gloating because it's the computer. I'm gloating because the CPU actually, for for lack of a better term, they did pretty good. They did try to rush the weakest side that I had, which this side was not fully developed at the moment. When they decide to attack, which my mistake, and you can see where I'm going to set up all of my light infantry right here at this little peninsula of the river. And I always love doing that. For some reason, shooting across a river with light infantry has never done me any bad. So yeah, moving them up. Um, and this is where I was kind of getting, because you'll see there's a point where I see some enemy cavalry at some point, and I see them kind of dart across here. So my initial plan wasn't to really build this side up because you can see where the general is. I can see the general moving. I can bring my camera all the way up there, and you can hear the drums, you can hear the marching, and I literally thought they were just going to try and charge down the middle, and they would have gotten absolutely massacred. But that isn't actually what the CPU decides to do. So I'm not really worrying about, my men crossing like this little path here, going across the river, because I know I have plenty of time to do that. I'm starting to I have a bunch of units going a bunch of different places. My cavalry unit's going to be set up here. Like I said, my artillery is going to be placed right here. Eventually, I do have my second or my first piece of artillery stationed right here. I don't know what happened with this battle. This battle would have went so much easier if my artillery was actually doing what I wanted it to do. Um, so as right here, you can see I have my field marshal. In this mod, you have a field commander and you have a field marshal. The field commander is your HQ. Let me see if I can find him. I haven't quite pushed him up yet, but I'm starting to. You'll see this little HQ. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that's in vanilla Total War Napoleon. But yeah, you can see the little HQ here. That's the one you want to protect at all costs. Like that's your queen. Like if this were chess, that's your queen. Or no, that's your king actually. But this is more so your queen. But your field marshal can be killed, but it will make your morale very, very difficult to grasp. Um, this is entirely a part of the mod. Um, it was a little hard to get used to at first, but after about 2 games, I got pretty used to it. Um, so yeah, I'm still setting up my men here. These lines back here, where most of these are actually line infantry, not so much light infantry. Reason for that is because these were just going to be my reserves. And as you're going to notice, this is going to turn into quite the battle on this side. So you're going to be seeing a lot more than just these guys back here by the end of this battle. I still have it on fast forward. I'm trying to look for the moment where I see. Yeah, so cavalry will come out of these woods. You can see a little bit right here. The cavalry will come up and it will charge this front line that I have right here on the peninsula. Turns out to be a massive mistake. One or two volleys and their morale just breaks like that. Like I said, I wasn't anticipating so much of a huge battle on my right as I was just down the middle. That's why I put my big important general right here. This is why I made the whole formation. I only had 2 lines of infantry reserve. I thought this was going to be a walk in the park. but you will see that the computer actually does surprise me later on. So let's double time this because I think the first skirmish is over on this side. I'm not wanting this video to be too long either. Okay, we just hit double time. My men are still here doing what they do. At some point, I do push this general up just a little bit further to support my men. Here comes the cavalry. So this is the first time I press play. The sound effects in this game are very loud, so sorry if I'm yelling over some of this. You can see on the map, there are tons of places where I could have just put my men, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to play. I wanted to give the computer a chance, but let's see here. Yeah, you've seen the cavalry. They came out. It looked like they were like scouting, but I don't know if the computer knows how to scout, so it might have just been a misinput. And you're going to see they're coming up, and they keep coming up. And that's when I have my light infantry get ready to form square. I think I do it around this time, or I should be doing it around this time. Maybe I thought that one volley would have been enough, but here we go. Forming square. And they just get shot from the side by this unit. I meant to form square for this unit because it looked like they were going for it, but they break right before they get to it. So yeah, like I said, one or two volleys, not too bad. It has them going across the river. By this point, I'm feeling pretty good, but I look over here and I see just a massive amount of military, massive amount of material here, and they disappear. So I'm like, oh, maybe they're coming down the uh, the the right side of the river. I have nothing to really worry about still. My men are still firing on the cavalry. I probably should have stopped them, but I wanted to just make sure they were out of the game for good because one good cavalry charge can make or break a game. From my personal experience, I haven't been playing that long, but so yeah, they get pushed back. Going to double time once again. You can see my reserves are coming in. I'm I'm always paying attention to this. Like ever since that engagement and they go running for the hills, I'm paying attention to this general, this field commander. And I've seen units here a little bit ago. Like I said, wasn't too worried about that. And like I said, I mean, I'm going to probably keep reiterating this part, because woe is me. I wanted to have this place just a little defended. I really, truly, honestly did think that they would come down the middle. Now, I don't know how good the CPU is here, but I think maybe it might have realized like there are two big forces on either side. Let's not go down the middle of those. But it does make that decision. It makes that decision to not actually go down. So I do see this infantry unit early on. It's a relatively small light infantry unit. I'm not too worried about that. I have plenty to share, plenty to go toe to toe with, and you can see I'm moving my flank here up because I didn't know what to expect, and then I see this. This was absolutely insane to me. Now, I do know that the CPU has a habit of clumping its, groups together, but I think this map specifically really complemented the CPU because it was essentially fighting on two different flanks. Like I said, this even though this was built up more, only small skirmishes happen here. I was more so focused on this side because I seen all of these cards pop up out of the woods, and you'll see in a little bit they do disappear. So I wanted to move my flank up a little bit more. This is where I start to be like, oh no, maybe I don't have as many men here that I should. So I start pushing my reserves up just to handle whatever situation comes my way on this side. By this point, right before they disappeared, you seen a lot of them was still in the middle and to the right. So I'm still thinking, oh, well, maybe they're still going to push the middle. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not a psychic. I didn't know what the hell they were going to do. So I still, I was very cautious about this side because I seen the cards. I'm not stupid. And I wanted to reinforce my position just a little bit more. Because let's say, hypothetically, if they did decide to push uh, a brigade or a battalion, down the middle here to try and flank this side, I wanted to be able to shoot them from the other side of the river. So no matter what, their men would have been sandwiched. But as you will come to see, things do not work out quite the way I had planned. This is the difference between strategy and tactic, ladies and gentlemen. Um, if you can be good in strategy and bad in tactic, and that will more than likely cost you the battle. You have to be well versed in both. Um, like I said, few skirmishes appear right here. I see the general move down here, so that was another reason that sort of reinforced my idea that the bulk of the army would probably be coming this way. Um, it was a bit of a false perception, I would say, but you do have like a skirmish unit out here, light infantry. There's a cavalry unit that's coming up. I'm pretty sure they get shot in the river. This is his second cavalry unit, by the way. We both only have two cannons and two cavalry units. And I think they kind of seen maybe I think my men ended up aggroing on them, which turns out to be a mistake. Um the computer does something pretty smart here later in the battle. You'll see I didn't really expect it, but you'll see what I mean in a little bit. Speed this up. I'm going to try and focus on the engagements. Like, for example, I know a lot of stuff goes on here. Here we go. The cavalry is charging. I aggro on them immediately. I know I'm probably not using the right terminology, but whatever. I see this light infantry out here. I have three lines. I wasn't really worried about them, even though I probably should have been. But like I say, I'm not a mind reader. I notice his cavalry kind of stays back there, so I start bringing my men back to the line because I figured um, he the computer was going to use this light infantry right here to shoot on my men while they were focused on the cavalry. That's why I brought them back to just reinforce my initial defensive line. So you can kind of see the precipice of what this battle is to become. Now, I didn't know what to think of this initially because they just as easily could have went north, like northwest toward my other men, but they didn't. They focused on these right here. These cavalry, they're getting closer, kind of uncomfortably so. And there are just a ton of cards that popped up right here in the woods that I didn't like. So first volley goes to me. His cavalry goes across the river. It's light infantry on line infantry right now, which isn't ideal, but I can just as easily replace these guys if I needed to. Here, I kind of get an idea of what the computer's wanting to do, so I line this line here, and I protect my flank just ever so much with this slight angle right here. You'll start to see I start moving some more of my reserves up. I moved my general up to right here to reinforce this side. Because as of right now, they're doing all the shooting. I still have a reserve line back here. I didn't forget about it. I know you'd probably think I forgot about it, but I didn't. I thought I had everything under control here, which I kind of did. The battle rages for quite a bit over here. 3 lines of line infantry. I think these are shooting at the cavalry across the river. Yeah, they break immediately. Yeah, they're shooting at the cavalry. The good news is if they did try to flank me from this side, they would be sandwiched. They would be sandwiched, but if they tried to come over here by this little land bridge, they would get absolutely demolished by these flanks right here. So I'm reinforcing my right flank with another reserve unit moving up. These are taking some pretty healthy shots over at the conglomerate of infantry that I see over here. Now, when I saw this, I didn't feel too good. I was a little wheezy on the stomach, but they push and push and push, and you're going to see repetition here where I keep just falling my lines back ever so much. So while that's going on, I do kind of want to take a look over here. Cavalry unit that broke earlier. Now they are getting demolished by these 2 light infantry. I probably should have moved my general up, but I wasn't really worried about this side just yet. I mean, look at this, this compared to that, I wasn't too worried compared to all of this. I do have some adaptive strategies, like, say, for example, if this line doesn't get in place quick enough, if this line falls, I'll just redirect them to fill in the gap. You'll see these men are having quite an issue with morale. Yes, they start running. What I probably should have done was reinforce this line with this line, which I do. I do end up doing that, actually. Wow. But I spend a lot of time readjusting lines, and these guys broke. That's not good, especially for these men that are going to be like right here. I'm constantly like I can't tell you how many times I use spacebar in this game. I'm just constantly looking at like where my lines are. how they should be, reinforcing, rearranging, filling in the gaps, dressing lines, dressing flanks. You'll see he has quite a bit of light infantry pushing in on me, and they start coming across the river. That's what I was talking about earlier. So you can see what I'm doing. Again, this is adaptive tactics. This line got their morale back, so I'm going to reposition them on a flank facing toward this group. While the ones that are getting shot at, I reinforce them with a new line, or I line them back up. And I'm just trying to like pay attention to like what I need to do in this situation. This line right here could be better. I should have maybe had it go across like right here as much as I probably could. But I still had men coming in. So I thought, what the hell, they might get here in time. These units back here are just chilling. They will come in handy very, very later on. Uh, this hasn't been fast forwarded actually. This is really how quick it happened. You can hear my army. These guys, they start to they're not in line. So I'm like, what the hell is happening? Let me position them back here. And I have this line move up to try and substitute. Meanwhile, these guys are shooting at my light infantry on this side. Well, no, these aren't light infantry. These are line infantry. And I'm just trying to like keep control of the situation, trying to, you know, do what I need to do. I really like the way this flank was positioned. I probably shouldn't have moved these men up quite as much. I should have lined them up with these right here. I forgot to put these men back here off of fire at will. I do end up doing that like very relatively soon. I reposition my lines. Now, meanwhile, over here, 2 light infantry units try again to harass my formation off to the left. Since I'm in recording mode, I don't know which one that is. It doesn't show up for me, but if I had my tabs, my little cards, I'd be able to tell you which one that was. They're just all bunched up like right here, and the unfortunate part is I just don't have enough men to properly punish this maneuver. So I replace this line before they break. I replace them with a healthier unit. Let's take a look at what this light infantry is going to try and do over here. They're pushing up. They're about to get shot. Oh yeah. They broke. These are going to break as well. I'll check in on them in a little bit. This line broke, unfortunately. I pushed my general up a little bit more to give morale to these men. So they broke, and then as you can see, I'm going to try and substitute this line for this line. Like it just keeps going. Yeah, those men start running, so I think I immediately reevaluate my situation. I place them here instead of over there because this line is more important. If I didn't have this line here, they would be taking pot shots at my field marshal. These guys again are just absolutely demolishing this light infantry. They break again. These push up. I didn't have too much trouble on this side. I like literally I didn't even have to move them until the final stages of the battle. You can still see I'm still putting up quite the fight over here, hoping that my men's morale will, you know, do something. Yeah, again, I'm not able to tell you which unit that is, unfortunately. So I did have an idea. I was like, okay, I'm getting pushed really hard on this side. I'm going to take my light infantry, which are very good at shooting and picking people off, and I'm going to place them across the river on their side. I'm going to hit them from behind. Back shots, if you will. I have a line pushing up here. I think I bring my general back at some point. Both of these lines are broke. They stood no chance. Yeah, this is where I'm like, okay, I need to be a little more strategic about this. So I start lining them up all the way back here. That turns out to be a pretty good idea because you'll see why. But these men end up breaking, I think. I send these men out to hit the flank to give them time to, make it over. I see this little formate. They're charging my men. Unfortunately, my men cannot outrun them. This line broke, so I refocus my attention to this enemy group right here, as you can see. And then I have this line, or I bring this line in to harass this group as well. I probably shouldn't have done that, to be honest with you, but as long as they're focused on this side with the majority of their men, they're not seeing these two lines right here. That proves to be a very fatal mistake of theirs. Just taking pot shots. I'm lining these men up, reinforcing this whole side. I mean, I think anyone in my position would say that I'm getting quite overwhelmed on this side. You can see another light infantry unit tried to push again, didn't work. They got mutilated completely. This line is almost ready. I was just hoping to God that this line just. Yeah, so I press F and I start charging this unit with both of these. So I was thinking, oh, but these guys are still getting shot from behind. I didn't realize that initially. I pull these guys back, and we start taking more pot shots at them. Now you'll notice I have these two lines right here. That's these two lines that were behind the bridge. I have another unit that came up from my reserves, I think around here, and I positioned them on this bridge. They start firing from this direction. These two lines fire from this direction. You don't have to worry about getting flanked because these guys stand no chance. They've already broke. Let's speed this up a little bit. These men are not all the way there. You can see these two lines start to really punish from behind. I don't think the computer knew quite what to do. They were shooting at these guys, they were shooting at these guys, but with different units. Um, Eventually, this line. Yeah, so I do have one of my units that do end up breaking, unfortunately. That's where I go to reposition my light infantry. I was going to. So I do end up getting a better idea for this. You'll see I bring these men up and I place these two lines just north so that they're flanked. And I push this side inward to push them back across the river. Um, I'm still trying to hold out on this side. Let's go back and play what I wanted to do. Play. They form square for no reason. My field marshals all the way back here. You'll start to notice some of their lines begin to break. Yeah, unfortunately, I do lose this line again. But they come back. That's when I reposition my lines to better give volleys. These two lines break completely. I still have sort of a horseshoe going on over here. This line breaks. I send my general, I send my field marshal all the way out here. You'll see a lot of my lines, unfortunately, they start to break due to lack of morale. I might could have won that engagement if I didn't move my generals so early, but starting to just reposition everyone across this river line so that way whatever reserves I have back here, whatever side they decide to go toward, I can put my reserves there. And you'll see in a little bit, I actually. So, yeah, my artillery has not fired a single shot this whole fucking time. I don't know if it's because they were unlimbered or if they were limbered or what it was, but I was too busy handling this to look over here, see what the hell they were doing. But yeah, I do have quite a few lines of um, reserves. I'm moving all my men back, as many men as I can, including my light infantry, or yeah, my light infantry. The good thing about this is if they decided to attack it, they would have been fucked. If they didn't decide to attack it, I could come around and do sort of like a hook maneuver on them, which is kind of what I end up doing by the end of this anyway. You might be looking at this situation and you see all these enemy cards. You're like, oh wow, a lot of your men have broke. A lot of your men are retreating. A lot of your men aren't coming back. That's true. But you will see that I have killed vastly more of my enemy than they have of me by the end of this. And matter of fact, I get a heroic victory. Um, I end up killing both his general and his field marshal. So just hang in until the end. Some of these men, I don't know if they come back or not. I can't remember. If they did, I wasn't paying attention, but they had lost so many men anyway, it wouldn't have mattered. Like this, for example, yeah, 118 out of 300, 119 out of 300, 144 out of 300. Yeah, they're not coming back. This is actually something that I do actually like doing. It's called a max exodus. It's where you fall back, you reconnect with the rest of your army, and you just kind of go from there. A buddy that I play with actually set me up in a trap once, and I did a max exodus of my entire army on the field, and it changed the tide of the entire battle. You will see by the end of this, my artillery does end up doing something, so kind of watch out for that. Still have the other one over here. And you were soon to see the trap that I had set from the very beginning of this battle. They fall right into it. Yeah, I shift my line, shift another line right here. They just completely take these units out, completely. They massacre anyone who tries to cross. It's like fish in a barrel at this point. I see this over here. They are still foolishly chasing the units that will not come back. If they had tried to hit my flank right here, I wouldn't have had enough time to reposition all of my men, but I do. This line broke. In comes another one. They break immediately. You can see some of their lines over here, they're breaking from taking just repeated, like, battery. These guys, they get their morale back, they try again, funnily enough. They break. And you'll see in a little bit what I decide to do with these people in the pond or in the lake or river. I keep getting that wrong. Sorry. I do send in 2 more infantry lines from the north because I figured this side was just so well protected they could do without for a little bit, and I reinforce my flank. This is what I was talking about. If they had used this army right here and flanked this side earlier, I would have had to have pulled back again. But they didn't because it's the computer. The computer is very stupid at times. Pushing these men up. Pushing these men up. I'm fast forwarding, of course, so you can see the later stage of this battle and what happens. They're still taking pot shots. This line breaks again for the second time. And before you know it, all they have left are skirmishers, and I box them in perfectly. I had seen a cavalry unit coming through the woods over here. Yeah, see, that's not his field marshal. That's an actual cavalry unit, but I take care of them later. But I had sent a line infantry line to support my flank right here, just in case if they tried to attack these lines. You can see right here, my men haven't quite moved up far enough yet. They have another line infantry that's about to get broke. They're starting to split. They're getting hit from 2 different sides. All right, let's watch this. Let's watch the rest of this. Sometimes you can't hear the rifles, and I don't know why, but it's a replay issue. I believe that was this unit because I clicked them and they didn't have fire at will on, so I figured it had to have been them. So I moved them back. They're just getting demolished from 2 different sides. I actually decided to be a gentleman and not flank these guys, but they do get chased down quite a bit. This was just beautiful to watch. The flanking maneuvers, the retreating armies. I mean, I was overwhelmed before. Look at how the tables have turned just from repositioning my army. Eventually, these two lines do end up breaking. It looked like they wanted to go for a charge, but I don't think they did. I'm pushing this line to get closer to them. They only have like a few units over here. They're still getting encircled, by the way. Yeah, I think they did try to charge me, but they just got absolutely obliterated before they could do it. You can see right here, these guys, they don't stand a chance. Let's watch this volley on them. Playing as Russia, by the way. Nice. I start moving these two lines in. They try to retreat across the river. I wasn't too worried about my flank from behind because I had the line infantry. These guys over here are just getting absolutely cooked. I think eventually, I believe I send all of my lines across. I retake the field. They break. Still have a tiny little light infantry right here. They're more so aimed toward my line infantry, which wasn't a bad idea, but they were just too small to make a dent, unfortunately. You can see here I'm moving my lines. One of these do come back. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was this line. They eventually do come back, but they get punished very badly. Let's just watch the rest of this in speed. Moving up all my lines. You can see this is just to protect the back, from preventing anybody from coming in and getting my general, like a cavalry unit or something. Keep in mind, he still has a cavalry unit out here. This line came back. They tried to make a difference, but it didn't work. They get shot from two different angles. I'll also send my cavalry in, so even if this line wasn't here, they would have gotten butt fucked anyway. Let's do this on triple speed. Yeah, they broke, so I'm no longer really concerned about them. One thing I don't like about this mod, you cannot see your enemy's morale. Unfortunate until they break, but until they break, you can't see their morale. I think you can in replay, but Actually, no, you can see it. You used to could not to see it. Is that a sentence? You used to could not? I'm gonna stick with it. Um, moving my lines up. I'm not so concerned about this side anymore. Like I told you, they do get punished. They get chased quite a bit. Not in combat, but they do run over a few of them. My main concern was getting that general. You can see this cavalry unit out here tried to push, form square. They broke immediately. I come out of square. I'm sending my cavalry unit up there to go and get that damn general. Um, for the hell of it, I just charge his artillery. Yes, I'm calling the computer a he. Women do not like games like this. Um, sending my cavalry across is about as far as I can to try and maybe flank or something. I see his general running through the woods. Doesn't matter to me. I have an infantry unit right here. Runs right past him, and the dumbass just stops. Gives me ample time to just shoot at him and charge him. I don't know how any of these shots didn't hit him initially, but I do end up charging him. He has a general. His field marshal is out here. No, that's his. Yeah, yeah. I went after his extra artillery. General died. Boom, and that was that. Um, hope you enjoyed this video. I'm a little tired right now, but it was a good battle. I liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I just wanted to make a video and post it, give you guys some content.